How do you because you kind of, a lot of people take the Africana studies direction and go, they focus a lot more on history and that type of education, but you kind of took it the economics route, right? How
Well,
did you?
not exactly. I mean,
Okay, break it down for me.
I mean, because my work really isn't. It's a critique of more than anything reporting of economics, but I'm not an economist. It's my doctorate is in media studies, but even that was in many ways arbitrary or by accident even. And for me, once I went through the Africana Studies Research Center, it didn't matter what my PhD was going to be in. It was always going to be used or framed in a certain way for a certain purpose. So I ended up, primarily because of my buddy, Dr. Todd Stephen Burrows, going to the University of Maryland's PhD in media studies or public communication, whatever they were calling it then. And I just said, cool, whether it's history or sociology or whether it had been economics or whatever else. The point for me was the PhD was just going to be uh, the terminal degree I needed for my career, or that I thought I needed for my career, but it was just going to be, and then intellectually, or in terms of scholarship, it was going to be used to enhance what was already the foundation in Africana studies. So yeah, but and that's primarily been my approach professionally, I guess, ever since.
Okay, so you come at it from a standpoint of critically analyzing the reporting of this information more than, trying to get the information out there yourself. You're looking at it like, is this propaganda, or is it a valid interpretation of the data? Is that kind of how you come at it?
In part, yeah. But again, because of that foundation and in that particular brand of Africana studies, and they're not all the same, but the brand that I got encouraged that my primary focus be the lived experience and material conditions of African people around the world.
Mm-hmm.
From that basis, using a variety of approaches that have served African people around the world well, in producing an analysis and in developing a way to interpret what was happening in the world that would serve radical struggles for liberation, in particular among those African communities around the world. That became my approach to whatever. So when it comes to buying power or economics or whatever, it is okay. I can read the data. I mean, I don't produce the economic data, but I can read it. I can research it. I can interpret what is being said, and then I can match it, for instance, with what's being said in pop culture or professional commercial media that targets Black audiences, and I can explain, I think, fairly well the differences. And that's sort of been what my work has been, and then to try to explain, again, with that Africana background primarily being the basis and the framework, explain why the actual data is not being properly reflected in the media that purports to be about that data.
Right.
And then to say, at the end of the day, in summary, particularly with my focus being Black people in the United States at the moment, at least, Black people are by design being misled and misrepresented and fed poor information to discourage radical responses and militant forms of movement making and organization. And that's sort of been the focus in a variety of ways of everything I've been doing professionally for a long time.
Nice, nice, and we appreciate that work you've been doing.